Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today is Whom Shall I Fear?
And my salvation, Yah is my light, and my salvation, Yah is my light. And my salvation, who shall I fear? Yah is my light, and my salvation, Yah is my light, and my salvation, Yah is my light. And my salvation, who shall I fear? Who shall I fear? Shall I fear? Yah is my strength. Of my life, who shall I fear? In the time of trouble, He shall hide me. In the time of trouble, He shall hide me. In the time of trouble, He shall hide me. Who shall I fear? Who shall I Yahweh, and be of good courage. Wait on Yahweh, and be of good courage. Wait on Yahweh, and be of good courage. He shall strengthen thine heart. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? Yah is the strength of my life. Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I fear? Whom shall I
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you're sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us as we get closer and closer to the redemption of the children of Israel. We're going to have to deal with those internal things that we have developed and learned here in the daughter of Babylon. When we talk about being righteous representations of Yah, we have to understand what that means to him. What righteousness means to him, how we are supposed to carry the holy name of Israel, which a lot of us don't even understand that the name of Israel is holy itself before you get to the name of Yahweh. We are dealing with Yahweh. He had already given us this name of Israel. He hadn't told us his name right away. It was after a period of time that he then reveals his name. So a lot of times we're dealing with just the name of Yahweh and not consider how we're carrying the name of Israel. As it is written, these people blaspheme my name through you, when they said, these are the children of Israel. Not these are the children of Yahweh. Not these are the children of Yah. These are the children of Israel. So you carry that name, but then how we deal with things will still get put us in a position where we are blaspheming his name. Not that we are saying something out of our mouths that is blasphemy, but the way in which we may carry ourselves will end up blaspheming Yahweh's name. And that's something that we have to consider. And sometimes that's going to take some deep internal examination. As we read about Micah, once, his prophecy didn't agree with somebody else's prophecy, he got slapped in the mouth. He got thrown in jail. He had all of these things happen because we have to get to that point where we see Yahweh's word the way Yahweh sees it. And without that, there ends up being a problem. And one of the things that we read all the time, keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim and be ready to hear than to offer the sacrifice of foods. We kind of forget that we invite the angel that stands at the door to come in and sup with us. See, if you go into a gathering where people just hang out at a house, nobody has sanctified, nobody has invited the angel. Of course, they dress however they want to dress, they hanging out. When you invite the angel, when you do those things and you're doing that in Yahweh's name, you got to be careful about the things that proceed out of your mouth. You have to be careful about the doctrine that you put forth. You have just invited the angel of Yahweh, making him co-sign on the things that proceeded out of your mouth. So now it's not about how we see some things. It is about what is actually written in Yahweh's law, and you have to get to a point where we can see eye to eye. This is what that is all about, being able to see eye to eye with Yahweh on his law, his culture that he set up. Let's begin today's sermon in Matthew chapter 16. And to do that, we have to keep losing a piece of ourselves. This is why a brother said, I die daily. What is he talking about? He keeps setting aside his own personal views. Because we have these groups, the Pharisees and the Sadducees. What happened? Each one of them see the things the way they want to see it. That's a problem. That is a problem. So Yahweh warns about the doctrine of the Pharisees because they have a way that they see some things. And then we have to, then you have these different groups. Well, I see it this way and I see it that way. None of that matters. What matters is, how does Yahweh see it? Let's go back to his law and see what he says about those things so that we can see how things are supposed to be dealt with. Let's begin at verse 1.
Matthew chapter 16 and verse 1. The Pharisees also with the Sadducees came, and tempting desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven.
Right. All of this is happening because they themselves don't like some of the things that Yahshua has the ability to do. So they're going to question him through doctrine, basically saying, hey, that's not our interpretation of it. And you find that same thing goes from all different angles of the word. If you're dealing with a Christian, they're going to tell you that's your interpretation. You can read exactly what this book says, and they will look right in your face. That is your interpretation. It ain't no different when you come to us. That's your interpretation. Thou shalt not steal. That's your interpretation. How the hell is that my interpretation? You can say thou shalt not steal in 4 different languages. It means the same thing. There is no interpretation in thou shalt not steal. Go ahead, brother.
He answered and said unto them, when it is evening, you say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. Oh, you hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky, but can you not discern the signs of the times?
Right. What he's dealing with is, you can deal with these natural things, but somehow these spiritual things elude you. Why is that? Go ahead.
A wicked and adulterous generation seeks after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And he left them and departed. And when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread. Then Yahshua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
The leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Leaven causes something to be puffed up. It causes something to rise. It is what makes the bread rise. Without leaven, the bread is flat. When something is flat, it is saying, I'm going to bow down to the will of my Elohim. When something is puffed up, you can't tell it nothing. You can send as many individuals as you want. They ain't changing. It's too puffed up to receive anything. And it likens that unto leaven. Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. But then he keeps going. Go ahead.
And they reasoned among themselves, saying, it is because we have taken no bread.
They automatically went natural. He said leaven, they went to bread. That ain't what he's talking about. Go ahead.
Which when Yahshua perceived, he said unto them, O you of little faith, why reason you among yourselves, because you have brought no bread?
Right. You went straight natural. I'm talking about leaven. All the things that we've been able to do. Why did your mind go automatically back natural? This is the part where the word of Yah has to resonate inside of us. But is there too much you that blocks Yah? Go ahead.
Do you not yet understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000 and how many baskets you took up? Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000 and how many baskets you took up?
Right. So why would we be talking about bread? You know how many things we have done here? And y'all was standing there. So how did your mind go right back to the natural stuff? How is that? You saw this. You were there. What is wrong with your faith that you went right back natural? Go ahead.
How is it that you do not understand that I speak it not to you concerning bread, that you should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? Then understood they. You see, the one thing about it, he is correcting them, but they can be corrected. They can be reached. Go ahead. Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees.
But here's the thing. You know, he said, how is it that you do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, but that you should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and Sadducees? Verse 12, then understood they. He still didn't say it was their doctrine. Go ahead.
When Yeshua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, whom do men say that the Son of Man am? And they said, some say that you are Johannes the Baptist, some say Elias, others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. He says unto them, but whom say you that I am? And Simeon Peter answered and said, you are the Mashiach, the Son of the living El. And Yeshua answered and said unto him, blessed are you, Simeon Bar-Yona, for flesh and blood has not revealed it unto you, but my Father which is in heaven.
He can tell by the words that proceed out of his mouth if he is the one that is chosen to do this job. He said, no. Not what people say. What do you say? No. I don't want to know what they think. I want to know what you think. Tell me, who do you think I am? No, that's a personal situation. No. I don't want to know what the group think. I don't want to know what the people think. No. Let's get off in here. Tell me what's in here. Go ahead.
And I say also unto you that you are Cephas, and upon the rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
Right. And he knows that by the words that proceeded out of his mouth. Flesh and blood has not revealed this unto you, but my Father who art in heaven. This is where the earthly part of my church is going to begin, right here. Based on what? Based on the words that proceeded out of his mouth. See, my elder used to say all the time, you can tell what's in somebody's heart by the words that proceed out of their mouth. See? He says, in the heart and in the mind is where fornications and murders and all of those things begin. Then they proceed out of the mouth. So that mouth is an indication of what's in somebody's heart. They're not just words. Go ahead.
And I'll give unto you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatsoever you shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. And whatsoever you shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven.
Do understand? Everybody didn't have that power. See, people want to take that and say, this is going to be given unto everybody. No, it ain't. Why would he give that power to a devil? Go ahead.
Then charged he his disciples that they should tell no man that he was Yeshua, the anointed one. From that time forth began Yeshua to show unto his disciples how that he must go on to Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and be raised again the third day.
Right. See, now this is something that he has to do to set things right according to Yahweh's instruction. But here's where the personal part comes in. Go ahead.
And Cephas took him and began to rebuke him.
Right, because it didn't agree with what Cephas wanted. So now Cephas is going to tell the son of Elohim, you don't know what you're talking about. The brother was put in the place to do a job. Cephas has received the charge. The church is going to be built on you. Now here come the feelings. He going to rebuke his master. Because something in him don't agree with the path that he has to take for his father. At some point, you got to get out your own way. Go ahead.
Saying, be it far from you, Adonai, this shall not be unto you.
This ain't going to happen to you. I don't like what you're saying. Go ahead.
But he turned and said unto Cephas, get you behind me, Satan.
So, at any time, any person can entertain a spirit. And if you put that past anybody, you setting yourself up for destruction. We talking about a man who could, you read this book and find out the things that Cephas did. But all he had to do was make him think about himself. And now Yahshua's whole path must be changed in his own heart and mind to fit his perception of what he thinks Yahshua should do. Now, what if Yahshua bends to his perception? None of us get saved. None of us get saved. So although he loves this man, which we hear some things that he said about Cephas that he didn't say about other people. He loves this man. He's got to chastise this man. He's got to run that demon out of this man. See, we misunderstand what love is. If he just walks away, smiles, and says, be of good cheer, he hate that man. Why? Because he left the demon there. Go ahead.
You know, when you look at the whole situation here, as we're looking at this with Cephas, his whole thing of this is not going to happen to you means that if it happens to you, that means something's happening to me too, because now I don't have my crutch. I don't have my friend. I don't have my buddy.
Right. So in actuality, it really wasn't about Yahshua. It was about Cephas. See, this is how you notice the selfishness that we entertain. While it is perceived that it's about that individual, it ain't about Yahshua. It's about, man, we got it going on when we with you. You walk into town, everybody know you walked into town. I done walked into town, people didn't start singing when I got there. But when you walk into town and we walking with you, yeah, that's right, we bad. Yeah, we bad. Yeah, tell them Yahshua. What happened if you leave, man? Then we all on our own? That wasn't about Yahshua. Pay attention. That was about him. And you have to recognize it in you so you can run it out of you. Go ahead.
The last thing, it wasn't even about the fact of them being alone. Now the weight's heavy on him. Because of what was just previously said. No, when he is gone, the weight is coming on you.
Because he already said you're going to be the rock of which I'm going to be in my church. Then he said, I'm going to leave. Wait a minute. No, wait a minute. Now, hold on. Let me add these two together. I'm the rock. And then you talking about you leaving. That don't sound good for me. Hey, before my elder passed, it didn't matter if I got here at 1 o'clock. I mean, I ain't want to get fussed at, so, you know. But it wasn't like I had to be like mentally ready to do anything, you know. I just had to be physically there when they said Shabbat Shalom. That's it. But with him gone, hey, there's a whole lot more responsibility that's there. That changes then. Go ahead.
Verse 23, but he turned and said unto Cephas, get you behind me, Satan.
And he's not dealing with him personally. He's dealing with the spirit that he is entertaining. Go ahead.
You are an offense unto me.
For
you savoreth not the things that be of Elohim, but those that be of men.
Personal. He takes your personal feelings and then waters down the word by how you feel about the word. How you feel about the direction. See? Go ahead.
Then said Yahshua unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself.
Right off the rip, he let you know what he's dealing with. This is about you, dealing with you internally. You can't follow me and constantly want to deal with things the way you see it. You can't be a disciple of mine. Deny yourself. Oh, we're going to have some problems. Because every time I get ready to direct you, you're going to tell me how you see that. Every time I get ready to direct you to do something, you're going to tell me how you see it. Imagine going there and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. Now, he's not going to listen. So why am I going again? I mean, you just told me he's not going to listen. So I really don't understand the job description. What is my title? What is my purpose of going? You have already told me that he's not going to listen. Man, shut up and do what I told you to do. Go in there and tell him to let my people go. He ain't going to listen. Turn around, go back again. Say, let my people go. He ain't going to listen. Go back again. Tell him, let my people go. He ain't going to listen. Go back again. Tell him, let my people go. He ain't going to listen. Go back again. I don't need you to tell me what the hell you think. Go ahead, bro.
And take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it.
Right. How are you seeking to save your life? I want to keep things exactly how I know them, and I want to keep, everything. I got everything set in this little box. I got spiritual OCD. I need everything to be where it is. Okay. Go ahead.
For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works.
He shall reward every man according to his deeds. I don't care how you saw your deeds, how you thought your deeds went over. He is going to reward you, meaning you shall be paid. Everybody will be paid for their works. Now the question is, are you going to get negative pay or positive pay? Go ahead.
Verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death, till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.
All right, let's go to Luke chapter 9. See, before Cephas can get ready to do some things with Yahshua, he's got to go ahead and get him to search in himself. Deny yourself. Do you have what it takes to deny yourself, to put the job first? Luke chapter 9, and let's start that at verse 57.
And it came to pass that, as they went in the way, a certain man said unto him, Adonai, I will follow you wheresoever you goeth. And Yahshua said unto him, Foxes have holes, and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has not where to lay his head. And he said unto another, Follow me. But he said, Adonai, suffer me first to go and bury my father.
Let me go take care of this natural business that I need to take care of. Go ahead.
Yahshua said unto him, Let the dead bury their dead, but go you and preach the kingdom of Elohim.
Right. How many of us will have a problem with Yahshua at that point? And how many people bold enough to go straight to Yahshua's face and tell him, I think you're looking at that wrong? Are you able to deny yourself enough to even see what the word is presenting right before your face? But if you in your way, you can't see it. Go ahead.
And another also said, Adonai, I will follow you, but let me first go bid them farewell, which are at home at my house. And
so we're going to take care of our house first. And then what's ever left over, we'll take care of Yah. Go ahead.
And Yahshua said unto him, No man, having put his hand to the plow and looking back, is fit for the kingdom of Elohim.
No man having put his hand to the plow and then looking back. When we look back, we're going to get back into those personal things, reassess that, place those things over Yahweh, and then go back to serving Yahweh. Said, you're not fit for this kingdom. Let's go to Mark chapter 10. Mark chapter 10, and let's start this at verse 17.
And when he was gone forth into the way, there came one running, and kneeled to him and asked him, Good master, what shall I do that I may inherit eternal life?
Right. He didn't say, what can I do that I may go to heaven? Somehow we have picked up the Valhalla doctrine that comes from the Euro Gentiles, that as they die, their spirits float up into heaven. The book don't say that. So how is it you have people teaching, reading the same book that we're reading, and they'll talk to you about their folks looking down on us from heaven? Yet this book say when Yahshua comes, he's going to awaken them out of their sleep, and they're going to come out of the ground, out of the sea, wherever it was that they died at. How does his word say one thing, but their heart says something else? And these are heavily intelligent people. Don't think that this is, a bunch of, dumblings that are making these statements. These people got PhDs, masters, they got all kind of stuff. But when you got something in here, it does not allow you to see what's plainly before your face. Go ahead.
And Yahshua said unto him, Why call you me good? There's none good but one, that is Elohim. You know the commandments. Do not commit adultery. Do not kill. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness. Defraud not.
Look, if you can change your perception of certain things, defraud not. Now, if you can change the perception of what you think defrauding is, then you can still walk around and believe that you're keeping Yahweh's law, because you don't understand that you have defrauded another. Understand, these commandments used to be on the same door when we walked in the church. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. And we all showed up on Sunday. Glory, Lord! Woo! Walk right past the commandment and was breaking it every time we walked right past it. Why? Because of our perception that was given to us. We didn't develop that perception on our own. Now, see, that's the most common misconception about one's perception. Now, that perception was given to you. That was given to us because they told us that Sunday was the Sabbath. They told us it was the Lord's day. So then you looked at that plaque and they said, remember the Sabbath, keep it holy. And then they said, we're here on Sunday on the Lord's day. So okay, 1 + 1 = 2. So then this is the holy day. So you walk right past the law every Sunday. Looked at it on the wall. But because of what was given to you, you could only see Sunday is the Lord's day. And you saw the law that you were breaking every Sunday. But we still went in there. At some point, you're going to have to deal with you so you can allow your perception of his law to equal his perception. And if it doesn't, we're getting thrown in that lake of fire. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And we felt justified the whole time we were doing it. Why? Because everybody else was doing it. This is what they led us to believe. You can keep the Sabbath can be any day. It says you shall rest. Sabbath is every day holy. Monday holy. Tuesday holy. Wednesday holy. Thursday holy. Friday holy. Saturday ain't the only holy day. It says it's a day of rest. If you rest every day, what the hell you resting from? He says 6 days shall you work. On the Sabbath you shall rest. I can't rest every day. So how every day gonna be the Sabbath? What are you resting from? You ain't done nothing. Go ahead.
Honor thy father and mother. Verse 20. And he answered and said unto him, Master, all these have I observed from my youth. Then Yahshua, beholding him, loved him, and said unto him,
all these things I've observed from my youth. See, this is where your youth causes your mouth to open and stick your foot in it. All these things I've observed, I got this going on. Okay. Go ahead.
One thing you lacketh. Go your way, sell whatsoever you have, and give to the poor, and you shall have treasure in heaven. And come, take up your burdens, and follow me.
Right. What if Yahweh asked you to give up something that's close to your heart? Would you do it? Here's the next question. Do Yahshua have to come all the way out of heaven to do that for you now? Yeah, we'll give it up if we say the clouds part and a man on a white horse come down and he just jump off the horse. Blam! Hey! Catch! Get rid of that Honda. Yeah, the Honda gone. Why? Because he seen the man jump off the horse and come out the sky. But what if that don't happen? What if he sent a servant to do that? Right. Read, priest.
And he was sad at that saying, and went away grieved, for he had great possessions. And Yahshua,
he wasn't willing to give up himself. If you're going to follow me, you're going to have to be able to deny yourself so that you and I can see through the same set of eyes. If not, you're not fit for this. Hey, no, I got too much stuff. I cannot give up my stuff. Go ahead.
And Yahshua looked round about and says unto his disciples, how hardly shall they that have riches enter into the kingdom of Elohim?
Right. He didn't say that if you rich, you're not going to go. That's not what he's saying. How hardly shall they enter? Why? Because they got more blockades blocking them. And they're not able to see because of all these possessions. And each one of those things is pulling at them. Go ahead.
You know, brother, sometimes people make decisions you have to wonder why. I was just reading about a husband and wife. I guess they were getting caught for some, or what it was, they defrauded the COVID fund and made millions. And they were getting ready for sentencing. They cut the tracking things off and disappeared. Left a note behind for the 13-year-old, the 15-year-old, and the 16-year-old. This is not goodbye. We'll meet again soon. They're gone.
Wow.
So you see, some people know how to cut ties. Hey, time to go.
They dropped out the children like the deer. Yeah, hey, look, that leg ain't good and the lion coming. Let's go ahead and hug next one last time. That's deep, bro. That's deep. Go ahead.
And the disciples were astonished at his words. But Yahshua answers again and says unto them, children, how hard is it for them that trust in riches to enter into the kingdom of Elohim? It is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of Elohim. And they were astonished out of measure, saying among themselves, who then can be saved? And Yahshua looking upon them says, with men it is impossible, but not with Elohim. For with Elohim all things are possible.
So in other words, they can still have those riches, but they have to put things in the proper context. And if you're not able to do that, you're going to have some problems. And all riches ain't money. See, we got possessions that we hold. We got friendships that we hold. We have all kind of things that we hold as important possessions, and they blocking us from doing the things that we would or could do for Yah. Go ahead.
Then Cephas began to say unto him, lo, we have left all and have followed you.
Right. We have left all. And what's interesting, you have those that have not made those sacrifices and think that they got the same rights as the ones who have made the sacrifices. You don't get the same abilities and the same things as they do. You ain't giving up what they've given up. You haven't made the sacrifices that they have made. How you put yourself on equal footing? See, that's what ticked Yahweh off about Miriam and Aaron. All of Israel is holy. Has Yahweh spoken only through Moshe? Moshe ain't had to go tell Yahweh that. Yahweh, I'm finna deal with this. Come out, you three. Because see, what came out of her mouth was an indication of what was in her heart. Yahweh didn't go down there and examine her heart. It was the words that came out of her mouth. He already knew what was in her heart by what came out of her mouth. So, I'm finna deal with this. Go ahead.
And Yahshua answered and said, Verily, I say unto you, there is no man that has left house, or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife.
We'll leave all that except the wife. Yeah, I left my brother. I left my sister. I left my house. All right, here go Honey Boo Boo. Wait a minute. Okay. They said, no. We'll leave anything to follow you. Right. Go ahead.
Or children, or lands.
Or children. Say, I got to be about my father's business. Now, this ain't the same as you deciding you're going to leave your children because you stole a COVID fund. This is not the same thing. Don't say what Suck said. Do not send them emails. Go ahead.
For my sake and the gospel's, that he shall receive 100-fold now in this time.
Everything that you lost, Yahweh gonna give it back. But if you seeking to save your life, you gonna lose it. Because you too busy worrying about what you might lose. I might lose this. I might lose my house. I might lose Honey Boo Boo. I might lose my bestest buddy. Everything that you lose in this walk, Yahweh gives it back. And he gives it back better than what you lost. But if you too busy worrying about what you gonna lose, you ain't gonna do nothing. Go ahead.
Houses and brethren and sisters and mothers and children and lands with persecutions, and in the world to come eternal life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last first.
All right, you finish that up?
Yep.
All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 18. See, even Yahshua got to the point, he didn't have his own perception of Yahweh's word. He knew what the instruction was. He just didn't like a part of it, but he was honest. Father, is there any other way? Father, I know what I'm supposed to do. I know what your word says. I know the instructions that you gave me. I said, let us create man in our own image, and now I got to go and redeem the creation that I suggested to you. But is there any other way? Is there any other way? No. You got to deny yourself for that creation that you made. Ain't that what we have to learn how to do as parents? You the one work. Do you go get you some new shoes and your kids barefoot? You have to learn how to deny yourself. Y'all ain't got food to eat, but you got the brand new game. You ain't learned how to deny yourself. You got a brand new phone, but y'all ain't got nothing to drink in the house. You ain't learned how to deny yourself. And that selfishness will carry on if you don't do nothing about it. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 18 and verse 17. And Yahweh said, Shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him.
All the nations shall be blessed in him. All right, go ahead.
For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him.
He will command his house. He gonna make sure that they follow the things that I command. When I tell him to move, he gonna move. So I'm gonna set him as my rock. This is my foundation right here. See, Cephas was Yahshua's rock. Abraham was Yahweh's. Because I know he gonna command his children. I know he gonna command his house. But do understand, Abraham became the father of many nations. He only made a covenant with one of those children. Remember, Abraham had other wives and other children. Yahweh didn't deal with them like that. Go ahead.
And they shall keep the way of Yahweh, to do justice and judgment, that Yahweh may bring upon Abraham that which he has spoken of him.
Right. So he's dealing with the lineage of the promised seed. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come on to me, and if not, I will know.
The cry of Sodom and Gomorrah has come unto me. I'm going to go down and see if what I've heard is true. That's called diligent inquisition. Yahweh ain't just going by what he heard. All right, let's go and let's make sure that that's exactly what's going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. Go ahead.
And the men turned their faces from thence and went towards Sodom, but Abraham stood yet before Yahweh. And Abraham drew near and said, will you also destroy the righteous with the wicked?
So now, Abraham now contends with Yahweh about Sodom and Gomorrah, a openly wicked place. What's really in Abraham's heart at this point?
His nephew.
You think he give a damn about Sodom and Gomorrah and the he-she's and the she-its and all of that that's there? No. He's asking because of his nephew that was raised as his brother. Lot's there. So because somebody he like is there, now he wants to save a wicked place. Read.
Peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city. Will you also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from you to do.
That be far from you. Now you greater than that. Come on now, you Yahweh Elohim. Come on now. Come on now. You the creator of heaven and earth and all that in them hills. Now you're not gonna do that. But this ain't got nothing to do with Sodom. This is because of his personal connection with who's there. So Yahweh supposed to justify the wicked because your damn friend there? Because your family there? Read, priest.
To slay the righteous with the wicked, and that the righteous should be as the wicked, that be far from you.
That be far from you. Go ahead.
Shall not the judge of all the earth do right?
So at this point, now he questioning Yahweh. You ain't doing right. Surely you're not even looking at your own law right. Surely. You're not going to do that. This ain't got nothing to do with Sodom and Gomorrah. This got to do with his personal feelings about who else is there. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I'll spare all the place for their sakes. And Abraham answered and said, behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Adonai, which am but dust and ashes. Peradventure there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous.
So then you know it ain't about the 50. So now the number done went down. Now he about to auction off salvation. What about 50? What about 45? What about 35, 30? What about 50? What if he got only 15 in Yahweh? Will you still destroy it? What we auctioning here? Does he really care about Sodom? Go ahead.
Will you destroy all the city for lack of 5? And he said, if I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it.
Yahweh playing the game with him. Yahweh know he playing the game. Yahweh know it's something off in his heart. Yahweh playing the game with him. All right, so if it's 45, I won't destroy it for 45. So he know he ain't going to be able to find 45. So we got to keep on negotiating. See, that's what happened when we got something in our heart. We got to keep negotiating why these wicked people need to still be set forth. He wants to save these people, but they're not worth saving. But he don't want to save them for that. He's thinking about his family. Read, priest.
And he spake unto him yet again and said, peradventure there shall be 40 found.
Here we go. Go ahead.
And he said, I'll not do it for 40's sake.
Yeah, Yahweh playing the game. All right, 40. 40. We found 40. We're going to save the whole town. Come on. What you got next, David?
And he said unto him, Oh, let not the Adonai be angry.
Oh, don't be angry. Go ahead.
And I will speak. Peradventure there shall 30 be found there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there.
Now we started at 50. Now we down to 30. Go ahead.
And he said, Behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Adonai. Peradventure there shall be 20 found there.
Now first we were going down in 5. Now in each one of these things, if Yahweh goes with what he wants, do you understand that now Abraham is justifying the wicked so that he can save his family? Understand what's going on here. If this is found, he then leaves this situation going, and more wickedness is multiplying as he leaves it there. All because of where Abraham was. Go ahead.
And he said, I'll not destroy it for 20's sake. And he said, Oh, let not the Adonai be angry. And I'll speak yet but this once. Peradventure 10 shall be found there. And he said, I'll not destroy it for 10's sake.
So he thinks, surely in this land of he, she, it's, I got to be able to find 10. Go ahead.
And the Adonai went his way as soon as he had left communing with Abraham. And Abraham returned unto his place. And there came 2 angels to Sodom at evening. And Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. And Lot, seeing them, rose up to meet them. And he bowed himself with his face toward the ground. And he said, Behold now, my masters, turn in, I pray you, into your servant's house, and tarry all night, and wash your feet. And you shall rise up early, and go on your ways. And they said, No, but we will abide in the street all night.
So, understand, at verse 33, and Yahweh went his way as soon as he had left communing with Abraham. The last number was 10. Right after that, and there came 2 angels to Sodom at even, and Lot sat in the gate at Sodom. So they went right to Lot. So Yahweh knew what the whole thing was about, right? I still ain't gonna say all these wicked people. I don't give a damn how much you try to justify them. I tell you what though, but I'm gonna go get your family. What else can you ask for? But no, you want to save the wicked too, just because your family there. How about go get your family out of that wicked ass place, and I can go ahead and destroy it, and I can save your family. But if you leave your family, I'm killing them too. Go ahead.
Because when you look at the number count, it came down to just them. It was what, 8?
Hey, he stopped. Yahweh know exactly when to end the conversation. I keep telling people there's some conversation, I'm out. Yahweh knew when to leave. He didn't keep talking past 10. Conversation was over. Yahweh let him go down from 50. He got to 10. All right, I'm out. Holler at you later, Abraham. No, we done negotiating. Because if we get all the way down to 5, I can find 5. You can find 5. We ain't going that low. Then I have justified the wickedness just because I like you. Go ahead.
And when you think about it, he even accounted for people who stayed behind, because there was a couple of daughters that stayed behind with their husbands, right? So even at that number, all of that he tried to save didn't get saved.
Right, exactly. See, there's some that are going to make their decision. You think that because you bring them truth that they're going to hear and change. No, they're not. You're going to find that you left with just that few number, because hearing the word and walking in the word, it's not the same thing. You have people who have been around the word, but they ain't been in it. Being in something and being around something ain't the same thing. Hey, when our elder passed away, we got persecuted. Who? The ones who were doing works. You have the people who wasn't doing nothing. They didn't see the persecution right away. There wasn't no need to persecute them. They wasn't a threat. So then those people who wasn't doing nothing could walk around and talk about how peaceful it was. It's peace. It's peace. Ain't nobody attack me. It's peace. That's because you ain't doing nothing. It says he went to go to war against the saints that keep the commandments. So when Lucifer come in, he said, all right, who doing the works? Let me throw some things their way. So if you ain't doing nothing, he was like, I ain't wasting no time with me swinging on him. He self-check. Everybody know when you play ball against self-check, you don't waste a man on self-check. Self-check ain't gonna hit nothing, okay? He ain't never got a basket, all right? You leave him alone to shoot a free throw. Move him right in front of the basket. He still misses it. He self-check. He checks himself. He blocks his own shot. You don't waste resources on self-check. When they draw up the play, they sitting there drawing up the play. He said, well, who gonna check number 19? He's self-check. Nobody checks him. I need y'all to double team this guy. Why double team him? He the one getting all the points. Double team him. Leave self-check alone. Make them throw the ball to self-check. And you can tell they don't even want to throw the ball to self-check. Cause they see him, they say, he like, I'm open. They like, damn. I'm open. No. They looking for everywhere to go except the self-check. Cause he not gonna hit nothing. So why would Lucifer waste resources on dealing with somebody who not gonna do anything? No, he gonna attack the workers. So it's easy to sit back in the back of the room and talk about how much peace it is. You ain't in the fight. Go ahead, priest.
And he pressed upon them greatly, and they turned in unto him, and entered into his house. And he made them a feast, and did bake them unleavened bread, and they did eat. But before they lay down, the men of the city, even the men of Sodom, compassed the house round, both old and young, all the people from every quarter.
Both old and young. They got all the people up. This is a way of life to them. This is how they operate. The old men, the young men. But Abraham was speaking to Yahweh about this. This what you want to say? This what you want to say? Instead of just pulling your family out, you gonna speak up for this? For real? Are you kidding me right now? This is what you're speaking up for. Go ahead.
And they called unto Lot, and said unto him, where are the men which came into you this night? Bring them unto us, that we may know them.
Right. See, Yahweh presents situations that they can't be saved. The very ones that is going to take care of the business, they don't go to directly attack the men in the place. The men come directly to attack them. Hey man, where the men at? Because they look shiny, boy. Man, one of them look delicious. Bring him out so we may know them. Read, man.
That was it.
That was it?
Verse 5.
Bruh. So they ain't got to go look for the train. But keep in mind now, this is what Abraham and all his greatness and how much Yahweh loved him. Look at what he spoke up for. This. These men tried to rape my angels. This is what you spoke up for. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 3. You got to be some kind of stupid. Bring the men out here, because we finna know them. You don't understand who you picking a fight with. Are you crazy? Now, because the Gentiles were not given a law, and the Gentiles don't have the same power and authority as Israel, things have to be explained to them and given unto them on a lower level. You won't find the word priest being dealt with in the New Testament unless they're directly referring to Israel. You're not dealing with the Gentiles on priesthood. So you can take that and set that to the side when we get ready to deal with Euro Gentiles. Let's read chapter 3 and let's start that at verse 1.
This is a true saying. If a man desire the office of a bishop, he desires a good work. A bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior, given to hospitality, apt to teach.
Right. The more things that a novice has pulling on him, the more things is going to cause him not to make the right decisions. Go ahead.
Not given to wine, no striker, not greedy of filthy lucre, but patient, not a brawler, not covetous. One that rules well his own house, having his children in subjection with all gravity.
Right. He's giving them instructions on how they need to deal with things. So if you're going to deal with this, you got to first deal with your house. Go ahead.
For if a man knows not how to rule his own house, how shall he take care of the church of Elohim? Not a novice, lest being lifted up with pride, he fall into condemnation of the devil.
Right. What did Yahweh do with Eli? He held him personally responsible for the deeds of his grown sons. See, we accept that if the kid like 14. We don't think we have any responsibility when they're grown. But see, we also have to deal with what part of grown are we? Are we naturally grown or spiritually grown? See, them two different growns. Go ahead.
Moreover, he must have a good report of them which are without.
He must have a good report. So that means they're going to watch your deeds and see how you deal with things. Go ahead.
Lest he fall into reproach and the snare of the devil. Likewise must the deacons be grave, not double-tongued, not given to much wine, not greedy of filthy lucre, holding the mystery of the faith in a pure conscience. And let these also first be proved, then let them use the office of a deacon, being found blameless. Even so must their wives be grave, not slanderers.
Not slanderers. Go ahead.
Sober, faithful in all things.
In all things. Why? Because their wives influence them. Go ahead.
Let the deacons be the husbands of one wife, ruling their children and their own houses well.
See, these are instructions that have to be given to the Gentiles because they don't have the foundation of a law. Go ahead.
For they that have used the office of a deacon well purchase to themselves a good degree and great boldness in the faith which is in the Mashiach Yahshua. These things write I unto you, hoping to come unto you shortly. But if I tarry long, that you may know how you ought to behave yourselves in the house of Elohim.
How you ought to behave yourself in the house of Elohim. Do we even consider that? That this is where you're going to get in the biggest part of your trouble. Go ahead.
Which is the church of the living El, the pillar and ground of the truth.
Now, he has to tell the Gentiles this. Israel should automatically know it because we have to constantly go over that law. But this is how you have people who have been in the word for years, but having not a full understanding of Yahweh's law. Our perception of it is different. No, this is the stuff that gets you killed. All of us have sinned. You think the brother that put his hand on the ark meant to do something wrong? No. But he touched Yahweh's seat. He had to die. Simple as that. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts. We don't care who family he is. I don't care if he's a cousin of a cousin of a cousin. He touched my seat. He got to go. There was no ill will in it. He didn't mean to do any harm. Matter of fact, he thought he was doing something good. But lack of understanding gets you killed. Go ahead.
And without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. Elohim was manifest in the flesh, justified in the spirit, seen of angels, preached on to the Gentiles, believed on in the world, received up into glory.
All right, let's go to our Romans chapter 2. Romans chapter 2, and let's start that at verse 9. You see, you have to be able to show people that there's a difference between what was given unto the Jews and what was given unto the Gentiles. See, and if you don't do that, they're going to try to push you into a corner, and you don't have anything to answer that with. Because some they practice gainsaying. All you got to do is talk to one of them Jehovah's Witnesses from one end of the country to the other, and you find out, hey man, how y'all got the same answer exactly worded the same way? Then you find out they got classes on how to gainsay. When you push them in the corner, then it comes out, do you think that was literal? Right. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 9. Tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that does evil, of the Yehudi first, and also of the Gentile.
Right. So we get punished first. There's an order in the house, and there's an order in the earth. And the order in the earth says you get punished for everybody else. Go ahead.
But glory, honor, and peace to every man that works good. To the Yehudi first.
Right.
And also to the Gentile.
Even glory has to follow its instruction. It's supposed to go to Israel first. Go ahead.
For there is no respect of persons with Elohim. For as many as have sinned without law shall also perish without law. And as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law.
They're going to be judged by the law, not judged by how they look at the law. No, you're going to be judged by the law. The same book going to open for all of us. So you can look at it however you want to look at it. But the same book is going to open for us. And when you got to try to explain, well, you know, the way I saw that, Yahshua. Go ahead and jump in that fire, man. Go ahead and jump in that fire. Why are you doing all that talking? Here it is. Here's the book. Here's your book. Everything you got to explain is a problem. See, what had happened was, no, there's your deed and there's the law. The book don't change for you. The book don't change for me. The book don't change for him. The book don't change for people that you like. Go ahead.
For not the hearers of the law are just before Elohim, but the doers of the law shall be justified.
See, that's the difference between them people that's around the word and the people who in it. See, the people who are around the word have heard the word. The people who in it do it. Go ahead.
For when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law,
they don't have the law. See? They were not given that foundation. That's why other things had to be given them. That's why they got a different set of instructions. But if you don't know who you are, you walking around following the wrong instructions. Go ahead.
These, having not the law, are a law unto themselves, which show the work of the law written in their hearts.
The law is to be written in your heart. I ask them brothers who wear their fringes all the time, what's your purpose of wearing the fringe? It said that you will look upon the fringe and remember Yahweh's law. Well, if the law is in your heart, do you need to look at a fringe to remind you, I shouldn't be stealing right now? I looked down at my fringe and realized that I had a toaster under my shirt. You didn't know before you saw the fringe that that toaster shouldn't have been up under your shirt? You didn't know that. That means that law ain't in your heart. Because if it was in your heart, you wouldn't have to look at the fringe. I ain't telling people not to wear fringes. I think they look rather dashing. But they didn't make me remove the toaster out from up under my shirt. Wasn't no toaster under my damn shirt. Go ahead, priest.
Their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another. In the day when Elohim shall judge the secrets of men by
He shall judge the secrets of men by Yahshua according to my gospel. There's a judgment. Do you think the judgment is going to change because of your personal view of his word? The only thing worse than getting somewhere and not receiving something is believing in your heart that you're going to receive it all the way. See, we can deal with disappointment. A lot of things is like, all right, just tell me what I'm working with up front. But to make me believe that I got a huge payday coming, and I get there, and they say, you know what, we put the decimal point in the wrong place. What? What? No, that decimal point wasn't supposed to be there. We sorry. We made a mistake. Baby, we're going to have to take this car back. Hey, that greatly changes things when you put the decimal point. We got to take some stuff back. Or do you in your pride still keep acting like you can pay for that stuff? Because see, now you done jumped out there. You done took Honey Boo Boo to, you know what I'm saying, the Lexus dealership, you know. You done went and you done got this. Now she done got used to it. She feeling good. She done showed all her friends. Look at what my baby got me. Now you got to go. Sharon, can we have a conversation? This is going to be a hard conversation. But that got to go back. Read, priest.
Behold, you are called a Yehudi, and restest in the law, and maketh your boast of Elohim, and knows his will, and approveth the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law.
Being instructed out of the law. Do you understand how you are instructed? But if you can keep changing that instruction by how you think about the instruction, man, we got some serious problems. Go ahead.
And are confident that you yourself are a guide of the blind.
Right. How you going to guide the blind if you have zero understanding of the instruction on how you yourself are led? How you going to lead them? Go ahead.
A light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which has the form of knowledge and of the truth and the law. You therefore which teaches another, teach you not yourself? You that preaches a man should not steal, does you steal? You that says a man should not commit adultery, does you commit adultery? You that abhorreth idols, does you commit sacrilege? You that maketh your boast of the law, through breaking the law, dishonoreth you Elohim?
Dishonoreth your Elohim is what's happening. Go ahead.
For the name of Elohim is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written.
The name of Elohim is blasphemed because of what you do. It's not that you have blasphemed out of your mouth. There's more than one way to blaspheme. Go ahead.
For circumcision verily profits, if you keep the law. But if you be a breaker of the law, your circumcision is made uncircumcision. Therefore, if the uncircumcision, keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision?
In other words, the uncircumcision have now gotten extra credit. You following them and you done came up short, but they got extra credit. Go ahead.
And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge you, who by the letter and circumcision does transgress the law? For he's not a Yehudi, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision, which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Yehudi, which is one inwardly.
Inwardly, the very same thing that Yahweh was dealing with, the very same thing that Yahshua is dealing with. Are you a Jew in here? Are you Yehudi in here? If not, I don't care nothing about your pretty little clothes or Or your fringes? Go ahead.
And circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of Elohim.
All right, let's go to 2 Kings chapter 5. Second Kings chapter 5, we're going to read verses 15 through 27.
Verse 15. And he returned to the man of Elohim, he and all his company, and came and stood before him. And he said, Behold, now I know that there is no El in all the earth, but in Israel. Now therefore, I pray you, take a blessing of your servant. But he said, As Yahweh lives, before whom I stand, I will receive none. And he urged him to take it, but he refused.
All right, this is a man that has been healed of leprosy. He wants to give a gift, and the prophet says, No, I will not take anything of you. Go ahead.
And Naaman said, Shall there not then, I pray you, be given to your servant 2 mules, burden of earth? For your servant will henceforth offer neither burnt offering nor sacrifice unto other gods, but unto Yahweh. In this thing Yahweh pardon your servant, that when my master goes into the house of Rimmon to worship there, and he leans on my hand, and I bow myself in the house of Rimmon, when I bow down myself in the house of Rimmon, Yahweh pardon your servant in this thing.
Right off the rip, I'm going to be in a situation where it's going to look like I'm worshiping another God. I am under the authority of another man. Please forgive me, because I know who has blessed me. I know who has healed me. But I'm going to be in a situation, and I pray that you pardon me right off the rip. How many of us would have done that? Or we going to take our blessing and run? Go ahead.
And he said unto him, Go in peace. So he departed from him a little way. But Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of Elohim, said, Behold, my master has spared Naaman the Syrian.
Right. He's got his own ideas on how things should be monetized. Go ahead.
In not receiving at his hands that which he brought. But as Yahweh lives, I'll run after him and take somewhat of him.
Right, because surely he should be monetizing these things. See, he's not dealing with this right. This was a great gift given to this man. You know, it's only right that we monetize this situation that we got here. Go ahead.
So Gehazi followed after Naaman. And when Naaman saw him running after him, he lighted down from the chariot to meet him and said, Is all well? And he said, All is well. My master has sent me, saying, Behold,
my master has sent me. Go ahead.
Even now there be come to me from Mount Ephraim 2 young men of the sons of the prophets. Give them, I pray you, a talent of silver and 2 changes of garments. And Naaman said, Be content, take 2 talents. And he urged him, and he bound 2 talents of silver in 2 bags with 2 changes of garments, and laid them upon 2 of his servants, and they bare them before him.
Right. What is your price? What are you willing to sell your salvation for? What relationship you got that's strong enough to sell your salvation? What possession that you have is good enough for you to trade in your salvation for it? He said, my master has sent me. You realize that he has just stolen in the name of Yahweh? This is what happened when we say, well, you know, I'm going to do some good. Right, but you did some wrong for you to be able to do that good. Well, see, I'm going to steal leaves, but then I'm going to do some good over here. Right. But you stole first. Okay.
And when he came to the tower, he took them from their hand and bestowed them in the house. And he let the men go, and they departed. But when he went in and
now he let the men go. All right. So he got somebody else involved in his evil. Right. Go ahead.
But he went in and stood before his master. And Elisha said unto him, Whence cometh you, Gehazi? And he said, Your servant went nowhere.
I ain't went nowhere. I ain't nobody did nothing. What are you talking about? Go ahead.
And he said unto him, Went not my heart with you?
Uh-huh.
When the man turned again from his chariot to meet you?
Right. See, a little birdie told him what was going on. Go ahead.
Is it a time to receive money, and to receive garments, and olive yards, and vineyards, and sheep, and oxen, and men servants, and maid servants?
Uh-huh.
The leprosy therefore of Naaman shall cleave unto you.
Right. The poetic punishment of Yahweh. You went to go get that stuff in my name. You stole in my Elohim's name, and your punishment is going to be the thing that he was cured of. Go ahead.
And unto your seed forever.
Unto your seed. Not only shall you be a leper because you've done this, now all your children going to be lepers because you stole in the name of Yahweh. Go ahead.
And he went out from his presence a leper as white as snow.
Do understand? You keep on reading. Gehazi's still in here. He's still working. He just got to work white. You go chapter 8, guys, still there. But think about all the people who saw him and he was black before. Now, what they saying when Elisha come to town? Do you have a twin? And is he black? Because you look just like the guy we saw last year. But he was black. Imagine what's going through these people's mind when they see this dude show up, look exactly how he was looking, except he white as snow. And he's still working for Elisha. Now, how many people gonna have indignation with Elisha? Hold on now. Hold on. How many of us, after that happened to us, guys, go get some water. Yeah, I go get some water. I'm gonna go. You want me white water, or black water? What? What? He's still working though. Why? Israel need to see. Israel need to see what happened. No, don't hide it. No, put him right back in the front. Because everybody gonna ask, what happened to you? How you turn white as snow? Everybody gonna ask. See, if you just send him off in the woods, now he can go hide in the woods. No, put him right back up front. So that all Israel will know, I know one thing, I ain't doing that. I may do something. I might do 2 somethings. But I ain't doing that. So Israel, our curiosity, I need to know exactly how this happened. I just need to make sure that I don't ever do it. I need to know all the details. How in the hell you turn white as snow? That's not normal. People get in the sun and get blacker. There ain't often that you see somebody and be like, damn, you done got light skin. That's not a common conversation that you will ever have. Even when Michael Jackson was bleaching his skin, he at least did it in between albums. He didn't just come out like Monday and then Tuesday he was white. What happened? He did Thriller, he got lighter. Each album, he got lighter. But there was like 4-5 years in between them albums. So there was some confusion on our faces when he came back out. Wasn't he darker than that on the last album? So then, You ain't quite sure, so you go back to the house and you pick up them albums and you say, oh hell yeah, something done happened here. Something done happened here. See, I'm looking at the Off the Wall album, and that's a nose there, and that's a different nose. On Bad is a different nose from Off the Wall nose. Bad color is a different color from Off the Wall color. Okay? You got to put them two album covers right beside each other. You know, no, something ain't right here. But understand, that might have been 18 years apart. Imagine 18 hours and the dude looked like that. Go ahead, brother.
That was the end of that.
That was the end of that. Let's go to Daniel chapter 5. Daniel chapter 5, and let's start that at verse 1.
Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his masters, and drank wine before the 1,000. Belshazzar, whilst he tasted the wine, commanded to bring the golden and silver vessels which his father Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the temple which was in Jerusalem.
He took these things out of the temple that was in Jerusalem. But up to this point, they've been put up. Go ahead.
That the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines might drink therein. Then they brought the golden vessels that were taken out of the temple of the house of Elohim, which was at Jerusalem, and the king and his princes, his wives, and his concubines drank in them. They drank wine, and praised the gods of gold, and of silver, of brass, of iron, of wood, and of stone.
Now, they're doing this while drinking and using the vessels of Yahweh, but doing it in the name of another God. Go ahead.
In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over against the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace.
Now, understand now, they all been drinking wine. And then a hand come out and start writing on the wall. They were like, damn, what is this? What you got in there, boy? Boy, this is some good wine right here, boy. I just saw a hand come out of nowhere and it started writing. Can we get some of this to go? Go ahead.
And the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Then the king's countenance was changed. And his thoughts troubled him.
Yeah, your countenance is changed. Because that hand came out of nowhere and started writing. Yeah, that has a tendency to get your attention. Go ahead.
So that the joints of his loins were loosed, and his knees smote one against another.
Oh, now he knee knocking. But he was big, bad, and bold when he made them decisions to go ahead and use Yahweh's stuff the way he wanted to. See, we don't think right. He gonna use Yahweh's stuff the way he want to use it. Go ahead.
The king cried aloud to bring in the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers.
He cried aloud. Now his knees knocking. And now he crying out, bring everybody. Go ahead.
And the king spake and said to the wise men of Babylon, whosoever shall read this writing and show me the interpretation thereof shall be clothed with scarlet and have a chain of gold about his neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. Then came in all the king's wise men, but they could not read the writing, nor make known to the king the interpretation thereof.
Right. See, it's one thing to have the writing to come out on the wall. It's something else altogether different to have the writing on the wall and you still can't read it. Go ahead.
Then was King Belshazzar greatly troubled, and his countenance was changed in him, and his masters were astonished. Now the queen, by reason of the words of the king and his masters, came into the banquet house, and the queen spake and said, O king, live forever. Let not your thoughts trouble you, nor let your countenance be changed. There is a man in your kingdom, in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And in the days of your father, light and understanding and wisdom, like the wisdom of the gods, was found in him. Whom the king, Nebuchadnezzar, your father, the king, I say, your father, made master of the magicians, astrologers, Chaldeans, and soothsayers. For as much as an excellent spirit and knowledge and understanding, interpreting of dreams, and showing of hard sentences, and dissolving of doubts were found in the same Daniel.
All these things. See, we get so stuck on knowledge, we forget the rest of these things. Understanding, interpreting of dreams, showing of hard sentences, and dissolving of doubts was found in him. An excellent spirit was found in him. We think because we know something that we got all that we need. Go ahead.
Now let Daniel be called, and he will show the interpretation. Then was Daniel brought in before the king, and the king spake and said unto Daniel, Are you that Daniel, which are of the children of the captivity of Yehuda, whom the king my father brought out of Uri? I have even heard of you, that the spirit of the gods is in you.
Gods, plural.
And that light and understanding and excellent wisdom is found in you. And now the wise men, the astrologers, have been brought in before me, that they should read this writing and make known unto me the interpretation thereof. But they could not show the interpretation of the thing. And I have heard of you, that you can make interpretations and dissolve doubts. Now if you cannot read the writing and make known to me the interpretation thereof, you shall be clothed with scarlet and have a chain of gold about your neck.
If you can read it. Go ahead.
Now if you can read the writing and make known to me the interpretation thereof, you shall be clothed with scarlet and have a chain of gold about your neck, and shall be the third ruler in the kingdom. Then Daniel answered and said before the king, Let your gifts be to yourself, and give your rewards to another. Yet I will read the writing unto the king, and make known to him the interpretation. O you king, the Most High Elohim gave Nebuchadnezzar your father a kingdom and majesty and glory and honor. And for the majesty that he gave him, all the people, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him. Whom he would slew, he slew, and whom he would he kept alive, and whom he would he set up, and whom he would he put down. But when his heart was lifted up, and his mind hardened in pride, he was disposed from his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. And he was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beast, and his dwelling was with the wild asses. They fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High Elohim ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appointed over it whomsoever he will. And you, his son, O Belshazzar, has not humbled your heart, though you kneweth all this.
You knew all this, but you, his son, have not humbled yourself, but you have walked in your pride. Go ahead.
But have lifted up yourself against the Adonai of heaven, and they have brought the vessels of his house before you, and you and your masters, your wives, and your concubines have drunk wine in them.
Right. You have taken the things of Yahweh and used them for your personal enjoyment. Go ahead.
And you have praised the gods of silver and gold, of brass, iron, wood, and stone, which see not, nor hear, nor know. And the Elohim in whose hand your breath is, and whose are all your ways, have you not glorified. Then was the part of the hand sent from him, and this writing was written. And this is the writing that was written. Mene, Mene, Tekel, Upharsin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Mene, Elohim has numbered your kingdom and finished it. Tekel, you are weighed in the balances and are found wanting. Perez, your kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and Persians. Then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet, and put a chain of gold about his neck, and made a proclamation concerning him, that he should be the third ruler in the kingdom. In that night was Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, slain. And Darius the Median took the kingdom, being about 62 years old.
Right. All because of the using of vessels taken from Yahweh's house. Now, we can decide that we want to, see that any old kind of way. Understand something. His father took the things. but the son used them the wrong way. It was the son that got more punishment than the father. Let's go to Joshua chapter 7. See, Yahweh knows what things of his. Sometimes you find out that somehow there's some confusion as to what things belong to Yahweh. And then how you're supposed to deal with the things of Yahweh. As it is written, they will say, hey, didn't we do all these great works in your name? He said, get away from me, you worker of lawlessness. I never knew you. Why? Because the beginning of everything you got started with a theft. Everything else you got is spoiled. But we've done all these good work. Look at the good things we've done. Right. It all started with your unholy theft. Everything after it is tarnished. You can believe it's good all you want. You have fooled yourself only to show up on the day of judgment and not get accounted for any of them things that you think you've done, because it began with a theft. What happened when them folks found out that you start and you built your empire on drug money? They take the whole empire. Yeah, you did some good thing. You had turkey giveaways for the kids on Thanksgiving. That was so lovely. But you sold dope to buy the turkeys. Read, bro.
Joshua chapter 7 and verse 1. But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing. For Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdiah, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Yehudah, took of the accursed thing, and the anger of Yahweh was kindled against the children of Israel.
Right. But see, he didn't steal from Yahweh's house. See, now this is where it gets interesting. You have one that stole directly out of the house. You have other things that was not directly stolen from Yahweh's house, but it belonged to Yahweh. See, we have to learn to have the same view about things that Yahweh does. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. You could really be partying with Lucifer right now. Go ahead.
And Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Beth-aven, on the east side of Bethel, and spake unto them, saying, Go up and view the country. And the men went up and viewed Ai. And they returned to Joshua and said unto him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and smite Ai. And make not all the people to labor thither, for they are but few.
So this ought to be an easy win for us. Go ahead.
So there went up thither of the people about 3,000 men, and they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai smote of them about 36 men.
So 36 Israelites are now dead over a little battle that they should have won easily. Go ahead.
For they chased them from before the gate even unto Shebarium, and smote them in the going down. Wherefore the hearts of the people melted and became as water. And Joshua rent his clothes and fell to the earth upon his face before the ark of Yahweh until the eventide, he and the elders of Israel, and put dust upon their heads.
So Joshua crying out because 33 of Israel have gotten slain for what should have been easy. Now he on the ground crying. Go ahead.
And Joshua said, Alas, O Adonai Yahweh, wherefore have you at all brought this people over Jordan, to deliver us into the hand of the Amorites, to destroy us? Would to Elohim we had been content and dwelt on the other side Jordan.
Now, because he has suffered loss, he is now questioning the direction that Yahweh has sent him in. We should have just stayed over there. We should have just done this. Why did you do that? Now he's questioning his Elohim and his Elohim's instructions. Because he suffered a L. Go ahead.
O Adonai, what shall I say when Israel turns their backs before their enemies? For the Canaanites and all the inhabitants of the land shall hear of it, and shall invade us round, and cut off our name from the earth. And what will you do unto your great name? And Yahweh said unto Joshua, Get you up. Wherefore lieth you thus upon your face?
Right. Why don't you know? Get up. Why are you laying on the ground? You don't know what happened? You really don't know what happened. Go ahead.
Yeshua has sinned, and they have also transgressed my covenant which I commanded them. For they have even taken of the accursed thing, and have also stolen, and disassembled also.
See, stolen and disassembled. See, we're going to break it down, so it won't look exactly like it was when we stole. You know, that's what we do. You know, and disassemble, so they won't say, you know what? Is that Kish's jacket? That looks exactly like Kish's jacket. No, Kish's jacket had the long sleeves. Yeah, I can see the scissor marks where you cut the sleeve. Right. Go ahead.
And they have put it even among their own stuff.
They put it among their stuff. So it mingles in rather nicely. See? Go ahead.
Therefore the children of Israel could not stand before their enemies.
Aha. See? Now the children of Israel cannot stand before their enemy. Not the one guy who stole. For some reason we don't grasp that. We have our own perception of how we want to deal with that. No. The one man stealing has caused the angel to leave all of Israel. Read, priest.
But turned their backs before their enemies, because they were accursed. Neither will I be with you anymore, except you destroy the accursed from among you.
See? Neither will I be with you anymore. No, you got to go find who did that and get them out of here. But that dude not dead. 33 other people dead, but not that dude. Right. But do you say, well, you know what, ain't nobody die in my family. You know, I hope they work this out. No, the angel leaves all of Israel. All of us. He don't just leave that man's house. We all gonna get defeated. Go ahead.
Up, sanctify the people, and say, Sanctify yourselves against tomorrow, for thus says Yahweh Elohim of Israel. There is an accursed thing in the midst of you, O Israel. You cannot stand before your enemies until you take away the accursed thing from among you.
Right. But what if we don't fall in love with the accursed thing? What if the accursed thing is somebody that we love? What if the accursed thing is something that we have made covenants with? What you gonna do? Because Israel can't stand before their enemies no more. This is no longer about this man and his personal decision. This has now affected the entire nation of Israel. Go ahead.
In the morning, therefore, you shall be brought according to your tribes, and it shall be that the tribe which Yahweh takes shall come according to the families thereof. And the family which Yahweh shall take shall come by households, and the household which Yahweh shall take shall come man by man. And it shall be that he that is taken with the accursed thing shall be burnt with fire, he and all that he has, because he has transgressed the covenant of Yahweh, and because he has wrought folly in Israel.
He has wrought folly in Israel. Now, if you don't deal with that, the sin multiplies in the land. Go ahead.
So Yahshua rose up early in the morning and brought Israel by their tribes, and the tribe of Yehudah was taken. And he brought the family of Yehudah, and he took the family of the Zarhites, and he brought the family of the Zarhites man by man. And Zabdi was taken, and he brought his household man by man. And Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Yehudah, was taken. And Yahshua said unto Achan, My son, give, I pray you, glory to Yahweh Elohim of Israel, and make confession unto him, and tell me now what you have done. Hide it not from me. And Achan answered Yahshua and said, Indeed, I have sinned against Yahweh El of Israel, and thus have I done.
Right. Now, he has sinned against Yahweh Elohim of Israel. But what he stole came from somebody else. But Yahweh had consecrated it. It was supposed to go to Yahweh. See, we don't even understand who we're sinning against. See, we thinking something is personal because he personally took it out of somebody else's tent. He personally took it, but I mean, these people we finna kill. You know, this stuff just laying there, you know. So, I mean, this is fair stuff. I mean, I didn't steal it out of the temple per se. Right. Go ahead.
When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonish garment, and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight, then I coveted them.
I coveted them. First, I saw something I wanted. Go ahead.
And took them. And behold, there hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. So Yahshua sent messengers, and they ran onto the tent. And behold, it was hid in his tent, and the silver under it. And they took them out of the midst of the tent, and brought them onto Yahshua, and onto all the children of Israel, and laid them out before Yahweh. And Yahshua and all Israel with him took Achan the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had. And they brought them onto the valley of Achor.
Now, consider now that all this family done got brought out. Now, they all shaking. They all going through this. They didn't take the stuff. He did. But consider, 33 of Israel died. They didn't take anything. He did. See, when we can take a narrow view and say, you know, this does not concern me, then you don't understand what righteousness is, and you don't understand Yahweh Elohim. Because what you let go in the land, what you justify, comes and knocks on your door. Go ahead.
And Yahshua said, Why have you troubled us? Yahweh will trouble you this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones and burnt them with fire, after they had stoned them with stones. And they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So Yahweh turned from the fierceness of his anger, wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor unto this day.
Right. So then that makes us look at Yahweh's law and his instruction in a different way. That he expects righteousness in his land, and he expects you to execute it. Now sometimes, and we have to consider this, one thing ended up happening and it affected all of Israel. Okay? Sometimes you go to the market and see a bag of fruit that has some really good fruit in it. But under careful examination, you find one that is rotten. As you look further, you see the rottenness has begun to spread to another. Although there are good fruit in that bag, you must discard the entire bag. A little leaven leavens the entire lump. When we refuse to execute righteous judgment, we become the lump that is discarded with the rotten. Let's go to Psalms 139. Those 33, they were not rotten. They got discarded because there was one rotten one among them. One rotten one among them. Got 33 of them discarded. And if they didn't deal with that one, more of them was going to be discarded. Psalms 139, and let's start that at verse 1.
O Yahweh, you have searched me and known me. You knoweth my downsitting and mine uprising. You understand my thought afar off. You compass my path and my lying down, and are acquainted with all my ways. For there is not a word in my tongue, but, lo, O Yahweh, you knoweth it all together. You have beset me behind and before, and laid your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is high, I cannot attain unto it. Whether shall I go from your spirit, or whether shall I flee from your presence? If I ascend up into heaven, you're there. If I take my bed in hell, behold, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the uttermost parts of the sea, even there shall your hand lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, even the night shall be light about me. Yes, the darkness hides not from you, but the night shines as the day. The darkness and the light are both alike to you. For you have possessed my reins. You have covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows right well. My substance was not hid from you when I was made in secret and curiously wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Your eyes did see my substance, yet being unperfect. In your book all my members were written, which in continuance were fashioned, when as yet there was none of them. How precious also are your thoughts unto me, O Elohim! How great is the sum of them! If I should count them, they are more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. Surely you will slay the wicked, O Elohim. Depart from me, therefore, you bloody men.
Surely you will slay the wicked, O Elohim. Depart from me, therefore, you bloody men. Why? Because at this point, if I stay around them, I now put myself in a position to be slayed by Elohim. You justified the wicked by your presence. You ain't got to say nothing, just be there. Go ahead.
For they speak against you wickedly, and your enemies take your name in vain. Do not I hate them, O Yahweh, that hate you?
Here is where the loyalty of Israel is. Do not I hate them that hate you? But what we do is connect that to individuals. No, you watch the dealings, and people will show you whether or not they hate Yahweh. You still cool with them? Then we have to ask, do birds of a feather flock together? Is that why you so cool with them? Do not I hate them that hate you? You hate my Elohim? We got a problem. Go ahead.
And am not I grieved with those that rise up against you?
Am not I grieved with them that rise up against you? Or do you just see that as they rised up against a man? Do you not? Because Yahweh ain't here. Do you see that they have risen up against a man? Or do you see that they have risen up against Yahweh? How do you see that? Go ahead.
I hate them with perfect hatred.
I hate them with perfect hatred. Why? Because their actions show that they hate my Elohim. Go ahead.
I count them mine enemies. Search me, O Elohim, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. And see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting.
Now, there are those that believe that we will have peace by smiling at everyone and being everyone's friend. What we misunderstand is that peace is achieved through war. As it is written, the saints of the Most High will take the kingdom. We won't smile our way to the kingdom. We will not sing our way to the kingdom. And we will not nice our way to the kingdom. Yahweh told Israel to kill everything that breathes. The question is, do we have what it takes to take back what is ours? Do we have what it takes to execute the righteous judgment of our Elohim? Or does Yahweh's interest mean very little to us? Let's go to Judges chapter 19. See, if it means something to Yahweh, it's got to mean something to you. Or else we have a problem. Judges chapter 19. And let's start that at verse 22.
Now as they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain men of Belial, besought the house round about, and beat at the door, and spake to the master of the house, the old man, saying, Bring forth the man that came into your house, that we may know him.
It's a lot of knowing going on. It's a lot of knowing, you know. Go ahead.
And the man, the master of the house, went out unto them, and said unto them, No, my brethren, no, I pray you, do not so wickedly.
Right. Do not so wickedly. I'm not just going to agree with you because I live around here. Look, this what you trying to do is wicked. Go ahead.
Seeing that this man is come into mine house, do not this folly. Behold, here is my daughter, a maiden, and his concubine. Them I'll bring out now, and humble you them, and do with them what seems good unto you. But unto this man, do not so vile a thing.
You think we do that? Right. Read.
But the men would not hearken to him. So the man took his concubine, and brought her forth unto them. And they knew her, and abused her all the night until the morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. Then came the woman in the dawning of the day, and fell down at the door of the man's house where her master was, till it was light. And her master rose up in the morning, and opened the doors of the house, and went out to go his way. And, behold, the woman his concubine was fallen down at the door of the house, and her hands were upon the threshold. And he said unto her, Up, and let us be going. But none answered.
Now, remember now, she left him to go play the whore. It says she went to go play the harlot. She wanted to play. Now, she been playing all night. Go ahead.
Then the man took her up on an ass, and the man rose up and gat him unto his place. And when he was come into his house, he took a knife, and laid hold on his concubine, and divided her, together with her bones, into 12 pieces, and sent her into all the coast of Israel.
Now, this ain't no mail I would like to receive. And who's delivering the mail? Who's the postman? Go ahead.
And it was so, that all that saw it said, There was no such deed done, nor seen from the day that the children of Israel came up out of the land of Egypt, unto this day. Consider of it, take advice, and speak your minds. Then all the children of Israel went out, and the congregation was gathered together as one man.
The congregation is gathered together as one man. Why? Because wickedness was done in Israel. And if you leave the wickedness in Israel, it spreads and defiles the entire land. So now righteous judgment has to be executed. See, Yahweh doesn't allow us to take the selfish stand of, well, it wasn't our concubine. I mean, it wasn't no wife of mine. I'm sorry. What has happened to you, it was tragic. Go ahead.
From Dan even to Beersheba, with the land of Gilead, unto Yahweh in Mizpah. And the chief of all the people, even of all the tribes of Israel, presented themselves in the assembly of the people of Elohim, 400,000 footmen that drew sword. Now the children of Benjamin heard that the children of Israel were gone up to Mizpah. Then said the children of Israel, Tell us, how was this wickedness? And the Levite, the husband of the woman that was slain, answered and said, I came into Gibeah that belongeth to Benjamin. I and my concubine to lodge.
Okay, I came into Gibeah that belongs to Benjamin. So, it's your land. You are responsible for what happens in your land. Go ahead.
And the men of Gibeah rose against me, and beset the house round about upon me by night, and thought to have slain me. And my concubine have they forced, that she is dead. And I took my concubine, and cut her in pieces, and sent her throughout all the country of the inheritance of Israel, for they have committed lewdness and folly in Israel. Behold, you are all children of Israel.
Stop. Do we see ourselves as one family or a bunch of individual families? You are all children of Israel. Does this not bother you because it didn't happen to you personally? That's why he cut up the pieces and sent them. Go ahead.
Give here your advice and counsel. And all the people arose as one man, saying, we will not any of us go to his tent, neither will we any of us turn into his house. But now this shall be the thing which we will do to Gibeah. We will go up by lot against it. And we will take 10 men, and we will take 10 men of 100 throughout all the tribes of Israel, and 100 of 1,000, and 1,000 out of 10,000, to fetch victual for the people, that they may do when they come to Gibeah of Benjamin, according to all the folly that they have brought in Israel. So all the men of Israel were gathered against the city, knit together as one man. And the tribes of Israel sent men through all the tribe of Benjamin, saying, what wickedness is this that is done among you?
Right. What is this that you allow to be done among you? Why is this okay for you? Go ahead.
Now therefore deliver us the men, the children of Belial, which are in Gibeah, that we may put them to death, and put away evil from Israel.
Put away evil from Israel. All we need is the men that did this. Go ahead.
But the children of Benjamin would not hearken to the voice of their brethren, the children of Israel.
Right. So understand what's happening here. Okay? Benjamin now interrupts righteousness. They have put together a situation where, okay, we realize what was done. What is this that is done among you? Now give us the man. Benjamin refuses. Now what was being instituted in Gibeah was a righteous forum. This forum was created for righteous correction and judgment. Benjamin has interrupted this righteous forum because of their ties to the people around them. In the end, we're going to see what happens to Benjamin. Go ahead.
But the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together out of the cities unto Gibeah to go out to battle against the children of Israel.
All they had to do was give up the men who did it. Go ahead.
That was it. You want to continue?
Yeah.
And the children of Benjamin were numbered at that time out of the cities 26,000 men that drew sword, beside the inhabitants of Gibeah, which were numbered 700 chosen men.
Now, when you get down to it, Benjamin was almost completely killed off as a tribe. And all they had to do was separate themselves from the wickedness that was done among them. But because they decided they were still going to be cool with these people, they turned around and fought against their own spiritual family, their real family of Israel, to hold what was close to them. And it almost got their entire tribe killed off. Now you can tell when a separation is on the horizon because the spirit of things begin to change. Elder Yaakov ben Israel used to teach that we have one spirit that is given to a sanctified body. And we are all broken off a piece of that spirit to do the works necessary to perform the jobs at hand that were given to that sanctified body. When someone begins to receive direction from another spirit, their walk changes, their talk changes, their demeanor changes, and everyone knows that based on what comes out of their mouths. Let's go to Exodus chapter 23. Exodus chapter 23. And let's read verses 1 through 9.
You shall not raise a false report. Put not your hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. You shall not follow a multitude to do evil.
All of these things, Benjamin knows the law. But because of that personal connection to the people around them, they can't see Yahweh's law. The you is blocking the Yah. His law is simple. Go ahead.
Neither shall you speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment.
To cause people to wrest judgment means to cause judgment to decline. What have you spoken that caused judgment not to be done in the fullness of righteousness? Benjamin said, no, we ain't giving them up. So let's go to war. So we as Israel fought other Israel for wicked individuals. Go ahead.
Neither shall you countenance a poor man in his cause. If you meet your enemy's ox or his ass going astray, you shall surely bring it back to him again.
Let me tell you how Yahweh test you. This week, I got a guy doing some work at the house, and a pit bull shows up and sticks its head in my door. Nice little pit bull, beautiful dog, and got a puppy. Puppy is absolutely gorgeous, right? The man working at the house, first, he gonna, y'all gonna, that puppy, what y'all gonna do with that dog? And my folk like, nah, we not trying to get no dog. Old boy grabs the puppy, put it in the back of his truck. We could look at that puppy. Hey, bro, that's not no cheap dog. I'm telling you that's $1,000 worth of dog. You done got there. So then my family called me because I'm off doing something else. Let me send you a picture of this dog at our front door. What? So then, as he puts the puppy in the back, I'm on the phone, and then I click back over. I say, yeah, it's a dog over there. And they like, look, this can't happen at our house. If your ox go astray, so this is how your family either help you do righteousness or they hurt you from doing righteousness. I ain't even there. Another part of my family then saying, look, this evil can't happen at our house. If your ox go astray, you go and find your neighbor and give him his ox. So now they done got in my head. Damn. Now I got to call the dude. Hey, bro, tell me about this dog you got at my house. Well, man, the dog just walked up to my door. I said, no, that's my door. That's not your door. And they're not going to come looking for you. They're going to come looking for me. The mama dog done came back and keeps circling around the truck because she know her baby is in this truck. I said, hey, bro, I done looked at my cameras now. And I see this mama dog keep going around, walking around your truck that's parked in my driveway with this beautiful little puppy in there. Let me tell you something. I'm not going to war with nobody about their dog. Do understand. Let me go ahead and let you know now. I'm dropping dime. I'm snitching. Understand, if anybody come anywhere, was that your dog? Get in the car. Let me show you where your dog is. Understand that. He goes and open up the back of the truck and let the puppy out. How about them people came eventually? The mama dog done went back and got the master, said, look, help me. Who is this? That is not supposed to be playing. The mama dog done went and got the folks and come back to my house. I'm like, is this Lassie? She come back, help me get my baby. My baby in that damn truck. They go get the dog. He gives the dog up at this point. Okay? He doesn't try to keep the dog. But understand, this was already in this class. Now was Yahweh testing me? What you gonna do, son? It's a beautiful dog. Your kids want a dog. My kids been coming at me one by one about the dog. Okay? They take turns. All right, it's your turn to ask for a dog. Each one of them then came to me and asked for a dog. Then a puppy and a beautiful mama dog shows up at my door and sticks its head inside the front screen door. The little storm door is cracked. When my folks open the door, the pit bull, nicest pit bull I ever seen, sticks his head all the way. At this point, the dog is in my family room. Just, hey, how y'all doing? They already casting lots for the dog. Look here, we can get this dog. No, we can't. This is somebody's dog. Them folk gonna come looking for their dog. And this ain't no cheap dog, I'm telling you. That puppy gonna cost at least $1,000. And sooner or later, them folks showed up looking for their dog. But was that for me? Would I have gotten in my own way? Well, I mean, I didn't steal it per se. I mean, I didn't go anywhere and sneak the dog. The dog showed up at my door. But when them people came, now you done got your folks used to this dog. Do you now take the dog in the backyard and hide it so that them people don't see it? The irony is, on the way, we ain't never seen the dog. I ain't never seen the puppy. On the way here, I'm going down the street. I see the dog and the owner. I start laughing. I ain't never seen these people. I ain't never seen this dog. But on my way here today, I see the dog this morning. Sometimes Yahweh will present the word, and then he will present something else to see. Let's see what you gonna do when it presents itself. Go ahead, bro.
Exodus chapter 23 and verse 5. If you see the ass of him that hates you lying under his burden, and would forbear to help him, you shall surely help with him. You shall not wrest the judgment of your poor in his cause. Keep you far from a false matter.
Keep you far from a false matter. It don't mean that you did the false matter, but you got to keep yourself far from it. Now, consider that situation. And them folks said, yeah, them Israelites stole my dog. Well, them Israelites let my dog get stolen. Hey, that's just the man that work here. I didn't got that. But hey, if he took it, hey man, you're taking that from my house. Now, if you see that dog down the street and you decide to open your door and throw that puppy in there, that ain't none of my business. But if I see you do it and you do it at my house, it is now my business. Go ahead.
And the innocent and righteous slay you not, for I will not justify the wicked.
I will not justify the wicked. That's something that we have to deal with. I will not justify the wicked. I don't care what they mean to you. I don't care if it's your nephew. I don't care if it's your son, your daughter. I don't care who it is. I will not justify the wicked. That's your best friend? So what? I will not justify the wicked. Go ahead, bro.
And you shall take no gift, for the gift blinds the wise and perverts the words of the righteous.
And what is the gift that we receive? Sometimes the gift is just friendship. It is just acceptance. That now we're not able to see the righteous judgment that should happen. But now we can't see that. Go ahead.
Also, you shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the heart of a stranger, seeing you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
So there should be compassion from you about strangers, since you were a stranger. See, there are many things that Benjamin end up breaking, and it's right here in Yahweh's law. Let's go to Leviticus 19 and read verses 15 through 18.
Verse 15. You shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. You shall not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty. But in righteousness shall you judge your neighbor.
In righteousness shall you judge your neighbor. Are you able to do that without partiality? Or does it change depending on how close this neighbor is to you? Go ahead.
You shall not go up and down as a talebearer among your people, neither shall you stand against the blood of your neighbor, for I am Yahweh. You shall not hate your brother in your heart. You shall in any wise rebuke your neighbor and not suffer sin upon him.
And for some reason, we don't get this. The hatred that you show to your brother is by giving them or taking away their opportunity to repent. You took away their opportunity to repent when you justified them before other people. What reason do they have to repent? It says rebuke your brother. If he repents, then forgive him. But if you are justifying them with your presence or anything, now they have no reason to repent. Now you hate your brother because now you have caused that sin to stay there. And the whole while believing that we're showing love. That ain't love. You hate them. Now they got to go to judgment for that. If you love them, you would tell them, hey, you need to straighten this out. Hey, look, this right here was defraud. You did this in slickness. You need to fix this. That's love. But we just gonna walk around them and smile and act like everything is okay. You hate them people. You don't love them. Go ahead.
You shall not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself.
We think that showed up in the New Testament. See, we think them y'all shoes were love your neighbor as yourself. See, that's New Testament teaching, and I love Jesus. That ain't where that come from. Love your neighbor as yourself is in the law. We hear it and don't even know that we hear in law. We think it's our decision to love our neighbor. And then we think it is up to us as to how we love our neighbor. We don't understand that that's connected to law. How you love your neighbor. You don't just love him the way you want to love him. That's not up to you. There's a law that describes how you love your neighbor. Go ahead.
I am Yahweh.
All right. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 1. And we're going to read verses 12 through 17. See, Yahweh makes sure that Israel can't slide out of things. See, we have a way to try to slide out of something. So he turned around and put his instruction back to back to back. So you ain't got no choice but to deal with it. Deuteronomy chapter 1, and let's read verses 12 through 17.
How can I myself alone bear your cumbrance, and your burden, and your strife? Take you wise men and understanding, and known among your tribes, and I will make them rulers over you. And you answered me and said, the thing which you have spoken is good for us to do. So I took the chief of your tribes, wise men and known, and made them heads over you, captains over thousands, and captains over hundreds, and captains over 50s, and captains over 10s, and officers among your tribes. And I charged your judges at that time, saying, hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously between...
Hear the causes between your brethren, and judge righteously. Not according to what you think, feel, and believe, but according as it is written. Go ahead.
And judge righteously between every man and his brother, and the stranger that is with him. You shall not respect persons in judgment, but you shall hear the small as well as the great.
Right. Benjamin didn't want to hear it. Benjamin did not want to let the righteous forum take place. They said, these men are among us. We will not deliver them to you. Go ahead.
You shall not be afraid of the face of man, for the judgment is Elohim's.
Do we understand that? Or will we go around saying, this man did this to us? Go ahead.
And the cause that is too hard for you, bring it on to me, and I will hear it.
Bring it unto me, and I will hear it. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 21. See, Yahweh puts that weight on Israel for us to deal with some things. Deuteronomy chapter 21, and let's start that at verse 18.
If a man have a stubborn and rebellious son, which will not obey the voice of his father, or the voice of his mother, and that, when they have chastened him, will not hearken unto them?
Right. So then Yahweh puts this even in your own house. In your own house. If there's a rebellious child who will not listen, he has instructions for that. Now the question is, did you tell the child anything? So you can't say, this child is rebellious. Did you give him instructions? Well, how is he rebelling then? You didn't tell him nothing. Go ahead.
Then shall his father and his mother lay hold on him, and bring him out unto the elders of his city, and unto the gate of his place. And they shall say unto the elders of his city, This our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shall you put evil away from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear.
Now, rattle that one around in your head. That Yahweh expects righteous judgment to be executed, not just in all these far distant places, but in your house too. You being held accountable for what happens in your house. Go ahead.
That was it, verse 21.
Yep. As we begin to be experienced in raising up children, we can tell when it's time for a child to move on because they begin going in a different direction than everybody else in the house. It's not like you don't love the kid anymore, but are you going to allow the entire direction of the house to change in order to fit their new direction? If not, then a separation is inevitable. Let's hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 5. So even as Yahweh starts to give us instruction about dealing with our wives, dealing in marriage, he automatically connected that to the church. And somehow that eludes us. Go ahead.
Brother, being a trailblazer is never an easy thing when you're the first one to have to deal with it. As you know, I was the first one to have to put one of mine out and had to deal with that because of the love that the congregation had for that one. And then eventually your turn. And so when it comes to that, it's not nothing that anybody can tell us.
Right.
We've had to deal with it. We just ain't talking about it.
And one of those things, man, you had to, deal with, people's feelings about that situation because they've gotten accustomed, to those individuals and they love those individuals, but I ain't at your house when they come in there 4 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? I ain't there. I ain't got to deal with that. So at the end of the day, a man have to make a decision and do what he got to do. Because Yahweh is going to judge you accordingly. I ain't going to be there when Yahweh come for you. He ain't going to listen to me. Wait, Yahweh, wait. So you either move or I can move you. Moving now. Yes. I'm getting out of that way. 1 Timothy chapter 5. Let's start at verse 1.
Rebuke not an elder, but entreat him as a father, and the younger men as brethren.
So there's a respect factor that is supposed to be there. All right. But we have to also deal with, because we are being raised in a word where most of us did not grow up in, we have to consider a situation of whether or not we are an elder physically or an elder spiritually. Because you can have some people that's 50 years old, they ain't been in the word for 2 years. Go ahead.
The elder women as mothers, the younger as sisters, with all purity.
And understand something. We have that situation where we have the natural age and then we got the spiritual age. If you haven't gotten the baptism, you still a spiritual fetus. Now, naturally, you can walk around and say, I'm grown. Spiritually, you ain't been born yet. You born in the water. Except a man be born again, he shall not enter into this kingdom. How many people consider that? We can't wait to get 21 so we can go get an alcoholic beverage legally. That's grown according to man's standards. When we crawl up out of that water, now you actually officially a part of Israel's family. Which one of them things are we counting? Are you counting somebody's natural age? Or are you counting their spiritual age in working and laboring in Yahweh's word? And do understand, there's being around the word and then there's being in the word. They ain't the same thing. Go ahead.
Honor widows that are widows indeed. But if any widow have children or nephews, let them learn first to show piety at home and to requite their parents. For that is good and acceptable before Elohim.
Right. And you find those houses where the children can talk to their parents anyway. They think they can talk to other people in their kind of way too. So you're setting that child up to get beat down. Because they run off at the mouth to the wrong individual and they're going to learn right there where they stand. And who fault that going to be? Because you let them talk to you in their kind of way. So then they thought they could go to Walmart and talk to this man in their kind of way. Well, that dude at Walmart got a fresh can of whoop ass that he opened up on your son on aisle 5. Why? Because he got accustomed to talking back at you. He got accustomed to woofing up at you. So he woofs up at other people. But them people don't have the same love and care and thing for your son. See, you can't teach them for your love. You got to teach them for what's going to be out there in the street. Everybody in the street not going to operate like you. When I'm trying to teach my kid how to drive, I'm not teaching my kid how to drive for people who know how to drive. I'm teaching my kid to know how to drive for the idiots. I can't wait to see an idiot when my folks driving. I watch the one in the blue car. Why? Because that's an idiot. I need for you to see how idiots drive. And my folk like, he just went across 4 lanes. I said, I told you he's an idiot. You got to learn to spot an idiot from far off. Because if you don't, that idiot hits you. So you have to learn. Idiot. 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 They be like, what you doing? Daddy, why you going so slow? Watch this, baby. That's an idiot. They, whoa. Daddy, how you know that? Because I've gotten seasoned in noticing idiots before they slam into me. You are young. You have not figured that out. You are very intelligent. You are brilliant. Hey, my daughter got that, what you call that thing? That cum laude, let me that. Yeah, whatever. But she ain't experiencing watching idiots.
Summa cum laude.
Hell yeah, summa cum laude. Yeah, what he said. But watching idiots and being experienced and noticing idiots is something altogether different. They don't teach that at school. They don't have Idiot 101.
Hello, y'all. This is James, and he's stupid. I want you to watch everything that James does and be on the lookout, because James also has family, and they are stupid too.
They don't have that. So then that's your job as you go out. Watch this. Baby. Slow down. Baby, I want you to see this. Why am I looking at this? Watch. Something stupid is about to happen. Watch. It's an awesome teaching opportunity. Watch this. And then they're amazed when they see something stupid. Daddy, how did you know that? When you have years of watching stupidity, you can see it coming. What does it say? The prudent man foresees evil and removes himself. But the simple pass on and walk right into the evil and get dealt with. At some point, you got to start seeing something before you get to it. And at some point, you're going to have to learn how to take somebody else's word. Amen. When you get to that next stop sign, you're going to face hell. All right. Go ahead.
You know, while you're sitting there showing them the idiots, you got to watch them too so they don't become the idiot.
Right. That's the whole purpose of showing them the idiot.
Because I remember my old man driving with me. We got through a lot. He said, hey, you're going to need to stop doing that. Stop doing what? Taking off as soon as the light turned green.
You got it.
What about the idiot running the red light?
You got it. Had that conversation too. Had that conversation. That's how you get them T-bones. And I ain't talking about the steak. I'm talking about when you go right, but this idiot runs the light and they hit you dead smack in the middle. That's a T-bone. You have to be aware of the idiot. You can't drive for you. Yeah, you know what. Okay, I got the right of way. Having the right of way, don't put your leg back on. You can't go to the doctor, look, I had the right of way. So this leg should not be off. That don't matter. That don't matter. You got to be able to dodge idiots. We go to take the driving test. Guess what we see in the parking lot? A fool doing donuts. Smoking up the whole park. Right beside the driving test. What? Smoke everywhere. Burning up the whole parking lot. At the driving test. And if you don't announce them as idiots, your kids is looking, oh wow, that's cool. Oh, I'm gonna do that next week. Oh, I can't wait to do that. You gotta deal with that. Cause your kids saw that and they intrigued. I wonder if their cord will do that. Yeah. Now they trying to figure, I wonder if I got enough horsepower to do what he just did. Go ahead.
1 Timothy chapter 5 and verse 5. Now she that is a widow indeed and desolate, trust in Elohim, and continueth in supplications and prayers night and day. But she that lives in pleasure is dead while she lives. And these things give in charge, that they may be blameless. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he has denied the faith and is worse than an infidel.
Providing is not just about monetary things. What have you taught them? What are they prepared for? When they go out in the street and get slayed, is it because you did not provide for them? Go ahead.
Let not a widow be taken into the number under 80 years old, having been the wife of one man.
And killed our thing here. Go ahead, bro.
Well reported of for good works, if she have brought up children, if she have lodged strangers, if she have washed the saints' feet.
If all of those things were done. See, that's that whole thing between being in the word and around the word. Have those things been done? See, everybody don't have the same authority. When you talk about an elder being able to do something or to teach something, and then a mother of the church being able to teach something, what makes you think that you can intervene into that? You ain't served in that purpose. Go ahead.
If she have relieved the afflicted, if she have diligently followed every good work. But the younger widows refuse, for when they have begun to wax wanton against the Mashiach, they will marry, having damnation because they have cast off their first faith. And withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers also and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not.
Being busybodies, speaking things which they ought not, using that extra time to do evil. But you see what happens when you're busy with Yahweh's works, but what we'll do is be busy with our own things. And you know, that you can do and stop that anytime you want. Go ahead.
I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. For some are already turned aside after Satan. If any man or woman that believes have widows, let them relieve them, and let not the church be charged, that it may relieve them that are widows indeed. Let the elders that rule well be counted worthy of double honor.
Let those that rule well be counted and given double honor. Do you just give double honor because they're an elder? But have they served honorably? Have they served consistently? Are you giving double honor to something that does not deserve double honor? Then that means you setting your family up for a fall. Because they're going to see you give them double honor. Now they listening to them. But they don't know what they're talking about. So now they misleading your family because you have given them double honor. Go ahead.
Especially they who labor in the word and doctrine.
Right. So you see where that attention is, those that labor in the word. You got people that labor in their own things that they like to do. What that got to do with Yahweh and his word? Those things ain't got nothing to do with each other. That's your personal business. You can't turn around and do your personal business and then turn around and tell Yahweh, you see what I done for you? No, you did that for you. That ain't had nothing to do with me. So you got to figure out whether you and the YAH is. Does YAH come before you or do you come before YAH? Go ahead.
For the scripture says, you shall not muzzle the ox that treads out the corn. And the laborer is worthy of his reward. Against an elder receive not an accusation, but before 2 or 3 witnesses.
And we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is have private conversations and take something against an experienced person. We're not going to come and do that openly. Go ahead.
Them that sin rebuke before all, that others also may fear.
Right. Them that sin rebuke before all. Otherwise, you are teaching a different way. You are telling everybody that this thing is okay. You're doing that because they were not rebuked before everybody. So now other people believe that this is okay because of you. Not because they did it, but because you refuse to rebuke them openly. Go ahead.
I charge you before Elohim and the Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach and the elect angels that you observe these things without preferring one before another, doing nothing by partiality.
Doing nothing by partiality. So Yahweh will let something come to your house just to see how you gonna deal with it. I know you want a dog. I know you want such and such. I'm gonna let it come to your house. I'm gonna see what you gonna do. Go ahead.
Lay hands suddenly on no man, neither be partaker of other men's sins. Keep yourself pure. Drink no longer water, but use a little wine for your stomach's sake and your often infirmities. Some men's sins are open beforehand, going before to judgment, and some men they follow after. Likewise also the good works of some are manifest beforehand, and they that are otherwise cannot be hid.
Now, when we deal with some of these things, when you talk about this natural age versus this spiritual age, being born at this baptism, as it is written, unless he that believes and is baptized shall enter into this kingdom. This is why my elder used to say, how many people have you purified? Yeah, you're doing all this and this and that, and you're doing such and such. Yeah. Stop all that. How many people have you purified? How many dead people have been reborn through what you do? Then otherwise, what's happening is just happening to fulfill your own ego. The whole heaven rejoices over one sinner that repents. What are you doing to cause people to repent? Because you damn sure not going to get them to repent by agreeing with them, telling them that everything they doing is okay, telling them, don't worry about that. We can all be friends. You helping that person get thrown in the lake of fire. and might be committing yourself to that same lake of fire. I remember when my elder divided the church and put the women on one side and the men on the other. People got pissed. He said it should always been that way. The women were not in the sanctuary with the men. They had the court of the women. I remember people getting hot that they couldn't sit there and hold Honey Boo Boo's hand while they was reading scripture.
I don't read Psalms without Keisha. Absolutely not. This is not going to happen.
Hot! What the word say? Let your women learn in silence, for it's not permitted for them to speak in church. Oh, people got hot. They blame my elder for that. They said it was his fault. But if you wasn't working, you don't remember none of that. You didn't see none of that. You didn't have to deal with none of those things and the heat that he got for doing that. This is something that he had to tell the Gentiles. He didn't have to tell Israel that because they wasn't in there. He didn't have to tell Israel that. Israel already knew that. They ain't going to be in there with us. He didn't tell Israel that. He got to tell Gentiles that. He didn't tell us. But look at the flack that he got. But if you wasn't around when he said, all right, this is changing, then do everybody, oh, well, this is personally done, for my house and me. This ain't about you. He got to a point, this needs to happen. So as Yahweh starts to reveal more and more things about what we are doing and how he wants to increase and magnify our walk, when it hits you in here, will you get in Yahweh's way? That's all we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.